And
it's actually, no, let's stop for a second. Please don't interrupt me. Here's why I know why you're good at your job. First, you interrupt people a lot, which is good. It's a good skill.
Actually,
and then there you go, prove me right.
But here's exactly
and the timing's good.
Here's exactly what I do. I only interrupt people like you when you either refuse to answer the question or answer a completely different one.
Sure.
And I want to remind you of what the question was.
Fair enough.
Or when you misquote me back, which you've done repeatedly through the interview, where you say, you see, Piers, you agree with me. And the viewer who's been watching will go, no, he didn't.
Cool, no problem. The other thing you do is you try and set these traps like now. So you're saying
what's the trap you think I'm setting?
You're saying that I agree with every single point of view a man has.
I literally didn't say that.
You're saying, well, you support Alex Jones.
Why would you misquote me?
Because you're saying you support Alex Jones and you said you've been on his podcast and he said this.
What's good, YouTube? This is KB LaFleur. You can call me KB. Welcome back to another video, man. We got Andrew Tate, we got Piers Morgan, right? And this is a debate, between them two. This is Andrew Tate. For the people that don't know, we call him Top G. He's a top G. But some people say he's not considered red pill manosphere, but then again, he really is. I mean, if you want to be technical, he is, right? Of course, a lot of people don't like what he say. I would say between him and Kevin Samuels, right, he was probably the only one out of the manosphere, red pill or whatnot community to actually make it this far, make it on national television, and be able to express and talk to somebody about why red pill content is the way it is, why why he says some of the stuff that he said, you have Morgan, right? A lot of people don't like him. Once again, because of political views, and just because of who he is. Now, me personally, I don't truly know who he is. I've heard of him. I've seen some of his shows. Like I didn't actually go out my way to watch it, but of course you hear about him, right? When you watch this interview, you see that he does a lot of gaslighting. He does, he tries to make Andrew Tate look bad. He tries to make Andrew Tate look like he don't know what he's talking about, doing a lot of gaslighting and whatnot. And you know what? Hey, it is what it is, right? But my theory behind this is, before they even got on the show, Morgan was probably like, man, hey, I might not agree with everything that you say, but I do agree. But what you have to understand is, we're about to get on this show. We need to make this show look good. So, I see a lot of people saying that, Morgan is a snake and this and that. If you read the comments, right? Because I'm probably going to leave the full link. Down below. But, if you read the comments, people will sit up here and say, man, this dude Morgan's a snake. He's trying to do this. He's trying to do that, man. It's Morgan looking bad. I'm gonna just put it that way. Morgan looked bad, bro. The way he tried to make Andrew Tate seem, But hey, man, let's go ahead and jump into this, man. It's not a full clip because the thing is it's a full hour. The whole video is a full hour, man. So we're gonna just do a little 8-minute part clip. We're gonna see, man, what they're talking about. The title of this is "You Are a Hypocrite." Andrew Tate calls out Piers Morgan, man. So let's go ahead and jump into this.
Let me talk to you about Alex Jones, right? Who I have a bit of history with. He tried to get me deported from the United States.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. What is your view of Alex Jones?
I think that Alex Jones is a sovereign individual who, very much like the rabid left, deserves a chance to speak on his points of view. I think that the truth on issues is usually somewhere in the middle between two extremes. And
you think Sandy Hook was staged?
I don't know anything about Sandy Hook.
Really? He's just been sued by the families for millions and millions.
I have no idea.
You don't know anything about it?
No.
So why would you support someone in public when you know nothing about the most infamous thing?
When have I supported him in public?
You have supported him in public.
I've been on his podcast.
Yeah, but you said nice things about him.
I say nice things about lots of people.
What do you think of Alex Jones?
I said nice things about you, Piers.
That's fine. so you should. I'm a nice person.
So to sit and say that I've been on...
Y'all see what I'm talking about? Y'all see where it starts, right? He's saying, well, you sitting over here saying, how can you, say that you like somebody that you know nothing about? It's like, man, dude, I don't know much about NWA, right? I had an NWA jacket, right? It said 1980, right? I don't know what I'm saying? I wasn't around when NWA was out, but, through history, you know, shit, through looking people up, researching, shit, hell, even the movie itself. You learn something about them. You learn something. You might not know every single thing as if you were around when they were around, but you get an idea of the type of people that you're dealing with. So for him to sit up here and be like, well, how can how can you like somebody that you know nothing about? It's like, dude, like, so it's like he's trying to start something, right? He's just trying to make him look bad, you know. Well, I guess not, right? So you shouldn't say that. Or you don't know him. You say you like him, but you don't know him. So do you really like him? Do you really know him? And it's like, man, dude. He said he'd been on this podcast or whatever. And like I said, Morgan is going to continue to try to make him look bad. That's the only thing. That's what I'm gathering from it, right? He's trying to make him look bad, but also on the other hand, it's like, you know what? Hey, I'm going to throw some shit at you, and this, like, you know, and I'm gonna try to make you look bad. But Andrew Tate has a whole lot to gain from this and have a whole lot to lose. So if he performs bad in this interview, you know, a lot of people gonna be like, oh, well, he don't know what he's talking about. He's just a misogynist, yada, yada. But if he does what he's doing now, which he did this whole interview, stayed 10 toes down, know what he was talking about, and stuck to his guns, you know, hey, he's going to come out victorious. And in my opinion, he did, right? I'm still watching the interview. I'm still watching the full interview. He came out victorious. He knew what he was talking about. He stayed 10 toes down, right? And like I said, Morgan's doing a lot of gaslighting, right? But let's continue.
A podcast and I say nice things about
But
him.
you said you support his right to speak about things like Sandy Hook?
I don't know Sandy Hook. I don't know. And
you know what it was?
It was a mass shooting.
Of school children.
Okay. But to sit and it's actually, no, let's stop for a second. Please don't interrupt me. Here's why I know why you're good at your job. First, you interrupt people a lot, which is good. It's a good skill.
Actually,
and then there you go, prove me right.
But here's exactly
and the timing's good.
Here's exactly what I do. I only interrupt people like you when you either refuse to answer the question or answer a completely different one.
Sure.
And I want to remind you of what the question was.
Fair enough.
Or when you misquote me back, which you've done repeatedly through the interview, where you say, you see, Piers, you agree with me. And the viewer who's been watching will go, no, he didn't.
Cool. No problem. The other thing
Hey, now, if y'all watch, listen, once again, now, if y'all watch the interview, right? Morgan is doing the exact same thing he's accusing Andrew Tate of, right? Morgan has sat here, right? Andrew Tate never said he was a misogynist. Andrew Tate never said in the interview that he was a misogynist or whatever. He was talking about 18-year-old woman and 25-year-old woman. 18-year-old woman is a lot more attractive than 25, 26-year-old woman, right? So Andrew Tate, you know, fast forward, Andrew Tate, man, said it wouldn't be sexist, it wouldn't be misogynist, maybe ageist. Like, you know, hey, I prefer an 18-year-old over a 25-year-old you can consider to be ageist. This Negro Morgan said, oh, so you just admitted that you're misogynist. What? Right? So this is what I'm saying, man. Andrew Tate has a whole lot to gain and a whole lot to lose in this situation, in my opinion, right? If he stand 10 toes down, which he did, right? Because you have to watch the interview, you'll see that this dude, Andrew Tate, stuck to his guns. He did what he was supposed to do on the show, right? He did what he was supposed to do. He ain't back down. He didn't waver from what he was saying or how he felt, right? So he's going to come out victorious. He's going to come out as a good guy in this situation. Now, of course, you're going to have a lot of people say, well, you know, he's not, blah, blah, you know, hey, cool beans to them. But I'm telling you right now, at the end of the day, Andrew Tate won this, right? Andrew Tate won this. And once again, like I said, he has a whole lot to gain and a whole lot to lose in this situation. So, you know, it's like you can be mad at Morgan, but you also can't be, because it's like, you know, hey, maybe in a sense, he's kind of trying to help him out here. You know, hey, I'm gonna try to be as hard as I can on you. And as long as you stick to your guns, man, look, you're gonna look good. At the end of the day, you're gonna look good.
You try and set these traps like now. So you're saying
what's the trap you think I'm setting?
You're saying that I agree with every single point of view a man has.
I literally didn't say that.
You're saying, well, you support Alex Jones.
Why would you misquote me?
Because you're saying you support Alex Jones and you said you've been on his podcast and he said this. I don't know
what do you think of Alex Jones?
I don't know everything he said.
What do you think of him?
I think on his podcast, he was cordial. I think he was professional on his podcast. I've also done podcasts with rabid leftists and people who openly hate me.
Is it wrong?
I do a podcast circuit.
Okay.
So, and I don't know everything he's ever said.
When somebody like
and I don't know what. So I don't know what you're trying to get me here because I did a podcast.
If you let me get a word in edgeways, I'll tell you.
It's a lame trick.
If you let me get a word in, I will tell you.
Let's go.
Alex Jones said that Sandy Hook didn't happen. It was staged by actors.
Okay.
This compounded the appalling grief of the families of those poor 20 children who were gunned to pieces by a lunatic with an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. They were already grief-stricken beyond belief.
And my fault for pausing it again, but think about it, right? Just look at it, right? He's sitting on here trying to say, man, you know, hey, you pretty much agreeing with a guy, man, who said that a school shooting was fake, right? I don't think it was. I don't think any school shooting is fake. I mean, you know, hey, and if it is, I mean, you know, I wouldn't be surprised, but because the type of world that we're living in. I mean, you know, everybody would do anything for clout. So, you know, hey, but I don't believe it was fake. But what Morgan is trying to pretty much set up Andrew Tate is saying, man, hey, you know, you pretty much, he's trying to make it seem as if Andrew Tate agrees with just a bunch of negative shit. You're trying to sit up here and insinuate that, you know, he pretty much agrees with Alex Jones. He liked Alex Jones, even though Alex Jones said that Sandy Hook was fake. So because, you know, hey, I might like Alex Jones, I agree with what Alex Jones said. I agree with some of the shit that he does. Like I said, man, it's just a game that Morgan is trying to play. And like I said, Andrew Tate is playing it well.
And this guy poured petrol onto that grief quite deliberately to make a huge amount of money from his InfoWars fake news bullshit. And as a result, a lot of the families have now sued him and they've won. And he's going to have to pay back tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars in damages to these families. And quite right, it won't do anything about the pain he caused them. Some of them actually had people turn up outside their houses with guns because Alex Jones had told them that these parents were making it all up. They were all staged actors. It was all run by the government. So I simply say to you, now I've told you that, what is your view of Alex Jones?
I don't see why any of that has to do with me.
So he pretty much, once again, like I said, he's trying to demonize Alex Jones, right? Look, Alex Jones is already an effed up person for doing what he did, right? But you keep trying to demonize it, right? You keep trying to demonize him, and then you're trying to switch the whole conversation that you have with Andrew Tate. You're trying to put it on Alex Jones. And once again, he's trying to make Andrew Tate seem like a bad guy because he said, you know, hey, why do you think he brought it up? What do you think about Alex Jones? Well, I've been on his podcast before. Well, you know what? Alex Jones said this, said that. So therefore, you must agree with some of the shit that he said. No, I don't agree with some of the shit that he said. I barely know any of the shit that he said. So then how can you say that you like him? So it's, like I said, it's a game, man, that he's trying to play. And like I said, Andrew Tate is playing it.
It's very interesting. I've done the guy's podcast. I know him well. He was professional and courteous to me. When I meet somebody and they show me respect, I show them back. Respect. That's what I do, as I did with you.
You respect him?
If somebody shows me respect, I show them respect back.
So if Adolf Hitler showed you respect, you'd respect him back?
That's a stupid question, Piers.
It's not. It's a logical extension of your argument.
No, if in 1931 I was walking through Germany and a man come up to me and said, sorry for bumping into you, I'd say, sorry, no problem, mate. I'd show respect back. I don't know. What are you trying to say? That I sanction the Holocaust?
You literally just said if somebody respects you, you respect them back.
I say if somebody shows me respect, I show respect back. That's a good way to go through life.
Whoever it is.
If somebody shows me respect and is courteous to me, I'm courteous back. Yes.
How can you respect somebody who caused such misery and pain to Sandy Hook?
I have no idea the specifics of the thing you're discussing.
And like I said, right, so you got Andrew Tate, man. He's trying. He's just pretty much saying, man, look, dude, right? You're trying to put me in a category that I'm not a part of. You're trying to put me in a category that I'm not a part of. And once again, right, you see Morgan, man, he's just arguing just to argue, man. And like I said, this is just a tactic, right? It's number one, it's a tactic. But number two, once again, Andrew Tate can gain a whole lot from this. In my opinion, Andrew Tate can gain a whole lot from this, right? Because he's a bad person in this situation. Everybody's looking at Andrew Tate as a bad person, right? Morgan, he's just, he is doing what liberals always do, right? Try to gaslight you, try to make you seem like a bad man, whatever, right? So like I said, Andrew Tate has a lot to gain from this. Morgan, he's just talking about something, man, that has nothing to do with Andrew Tate. He's just like, man, dude, look, it's just common courtesy, common respect. Hell, nobody knew who Jeffrey Dahmer was when Jeffrey Dahmer was doing what he was doing. But guess what? If I'm walking down the street, and let's just say I meet him, right? We're just cordial friends. But I don't know anything that this man has done, which Andrew Tate is saying, I don't know anything about what Alex Jones has said. I just know Alex Jones because I met him and I went onto his show. Whatever, yeah? move forward, hang out with Jeffrey Dahmer a few times or whatever, yeah. Come to find out he's been doing what he was doing. When somebody come and ask me, how you feel about him? How I feel about him, hey, he was a good guy. We hung out a few times. He helped me out with this, he helped me out with that, yeah. Now people would then sit up here and say, well, you're trying to say that he was a good guy. You're trying to say that he was this. Well, at the time of meeting him, at the time of being around him, yes, he was a good guy. I didn't know that he was doing some of the stuff that he was doing. But you got somebody like Morgan right here would try to gaslight you and say, dude, you pretty much saying that you like this man. You're pretty much saying that there's nothing wrong with this guy. Right? It's just funny to me, man. It's just funny to me.
I don't understand any of it.
Well,
I don't know anything about it. You've told me your version of events.
When did you go on the podcast?
I was on the podcast about four times in the last 4 years. I did one relatively recently.
So four times you went on Alex Jones's podcast.
Correct.
Promoting him, helping him make money.
I don't think it was promoting and helping him because...
Well, it's his podcast.
Well, yeah, but I've been on the podcasts of people who absolutely hate me. I've been on liberal left-wing podcasts. I've been on feminist podcasts.
Fine.
And no, you just sat here saying I would like you to agree, perhaps we can agree on this point, that I'm not a feminist. I go on feminist podcasts. I do a podcast circuit.
You're not a feminist?
No, I don't know.
What do you think a feminist is?
Well, let's not change subject here, Piers. Stay on the subject.
You mentioned feminism.
Completely, but you're trying to get away from the point because what you did is you're trying to say because I did a podcast, I sanction all of this person's views. And I'm saying I do 5 podcasts a week. I do 5 podcasts a week and I don't sanction 100% the views of any other person on the planet because I'm an individual and he has an individual views, as do you. So I don't know why you're trying to come at me with one of his views and pretend that's something to do with me.
Because it's a pretty big view.
No, but it's a lame trick, Piers, and you're better than this. So let's move on.
Would you,
it's lame, and let's move on.
Putin had a podcast, would you go on it?
Sure.
You would? Great. Okay, then we know what you're talking about.
If Vladimir Putin had a podcast, I'd go on it. If Joe Biden had a podcast, I'd go on it. If a feminist has a podcast, I'll go on it. If Piers Morgan has a podcast, I'll go on it. If Alex Jones, I don't see the point you're making. There's no point here. You're digging, but there's nothing to find.
Well, I'm not. I'm taking your position that if somebody shows you respect them.
I think that...
I'm saying there are lots of people in the world I do not respect. If Vladimir Putin showed me respect, I would not respect him.
That's your opinion. But
no, it's my view. What's your view?
Okay, that's your view. Well, your
view is you would.
You're sitting here, Piers, saying that I'm on uncensored show.
So essentially what Morgan is saying that if you saw Vladimir Putin, Vladimir Putin put out his hands, right? Move all the damn shit that that he's done or whatever, right? Comes up to you, shake it, he's raise that hand. Oh, I take that back. If you know everything that he did, right? Well, I take that back because Andrew Tate don't know all the shit that Alex Jones did. He's just simply saying, so you give respect, so you receive it, right? So if you give me respect, you're gonna receive respect from me. I'm gonna give you respect. You give me respect, I give you respect. That's just how the world works, right? Morgan's trying to sit up here and say, well, you know what? If I see Vladimir Putin, I understand some of the shit that he's going through, but you know what? Hey, if you put out his hands, get out my damn face. F you. Keep it moving. Right? So you just trying to start something for no reason. Instead of just simply, hey, how you doing? And keep it moving, right? Now, look, Morgan obviously know who Vladimir Putin is. So, hey, you might, be disrespectful to him. Hey, that's your early grave. But the thing is, right, just common courtesy, and this is just in general. If you walk up to a person, man, that they bump into you, they say sorry, you say, oh, it's okay. Or they put out their hands, they shake your hand, you shake their hand. It's just simple. It's just simple. But once again, right, this is just a tactic Morgan is trying to use. As I say once again, and you take benefit from this.
And in your intro, you said that it's important that we don't have echo chambers and we have varying...
Correct.
And that we have varying opinions.
Correct.
But then you're saying the people you don't like, you wouldn't go on their podcast.
No.
So you are a hypocrite.
No,
I will go on anybody's podcast and discuss any point.
I don't think you understand what censorship means, do you? Like a lot of words we've had problems with today.
You're just saying
What do you think censorship means?
No, but the point I'm trying to make here...
Hang on. What do you think censorship means?
Don't hide from the fact that you're saying you will only do podcasts with people you like.
Why do you think that's censorship?
No, that's your prerogative. My prerogative is
What does it do with censorship?
I'll discuss opinions with anybody, and I've done hard left wing. Why are you not asking me about the podcasts I've done for the people who are hard liberal left wing?
By the way, I don't care whether they're left or right.
Okay.
Extremists to me are all nuts, right?
Then we agree.
Yes.
So perfect.
Good.
Next subject.
All right, here's my next subject. It's a very serious case here.
Jesus, and before we move on, sorry, Piers, but before you move on, I do find it kind of disingenuous, and I know we're on a show, and I don't have a personal problem with you, but it is kind of disingenuous to try and sit here and lump me in with some school shooting. That's nothing to do with me. That's nothing to do with me. On any level.
Let me respond.
On any level.
Let me explain. Like you've just said, you've been on this podcast 4 times.
In 4 years.
Since he said the whole thing was staged.
I don't know when he
and I think the fact that a smart guy like you wants me to believe you had no idea that Alex Jones, who's been in the news now for the last 2 years for being sued by these families for the most heinous thing imaginable of pouring petrol onto their grief by claiming that shooting was staged. The fact that you're pretending you didn't know about any of that.
It's not about pretending
and you've been on his podcast 4 times.
You see what I'm talking about? He's trying to gaslight and say, you're pretending that you don't, that you didn't know. Mother, how can you tell me what I can pretend and what I don't pretend? Like, you can't tell me what I know and what I don't know. Unless if I can honestly tell you, right? If you say, well, Kima, hey, what's 1 + 1 = 2. I know that, right? But you can't then sit up here and say, well, Kima, you know what 1 + 1 is if I can't tell you the answer. Well, hey, what's 1 + 1? I don't know, 4, 12, I don't know. You're lying to me because you saying you don't know what 1 + 1 is. And it equals 2, but you know it. You know it does. I don't know. I don't know. Now, if I did tell you, hey, 1 + 1 = 2, I do know that. But see, hope y'all get that analogy, man. But like I said, man, Andrew Tate has a whole lot to gain in this. And he has a whole lot to lose. And it depending on his demeanor, depending on how he responds to these questions, is going to be a determined factor on whether he wins or loses. Because listen, right, when you play any sports, any athlete knows this. When you play any sports, when you get into a person's head, when you get into a player's head, it messes the whole game up. So then, they start doing shit that, kind of messes them up, messes up the team or whatnot. Morgan's just trying to get this man out of pocket. He's trying to get this man mad, upset, or whatever. Then he's going to be like, okay, well, look at you. You're getting mad at me. You're yelling at me. And I'm just trying to ask him damn questions. This is crazy, man. This is freaking crazy.
I'm
Piers,
supporting him and making him money. So damn right I'm going to call you out on it.
When I do a podcast, if you think I spend time analyzing the point of view of that person and everything they've ever said
you should.
For years beforehand.
It's not years, it was minutes in most cases.
Years and years.
When did you last go on his podcast?
You trying to lump me in and attack me for a person whose podcast I do having a view is absolutely childish. Because I've done a bunch of podcasts with people.
You would do a podcast.
I've done a bunch of podcasts with people who are advocating for things that I do not agree with on every single level. In fact, most of my podcasts are me disagreeing with people. So it's completely crazy that you're trying to lump me in with that. That's cheap. That's cheap.
You are completely misconstruing the point of what I'm saying. I think deliberately.
No, what you're trying is a cheap trick. And I'm just making it clear to the
audience.
audience.
It's not a cheap trick. I'm just curious where your moral line is.
It's a cheap trick.
Where's your moral line?
I disagree with the points of view with the majority of the people I do podcasts with. So it's a very cheep trick you're trying here. So I don't know where it's
and we're going to end that right there, man. But, like I said, Andrew Tate held it down. But like I said, he has a whole lot to gain. He has a whole lot to lose from here, right? He's a representation of, people like myself, Poor Man Podcast, Red Pill Community, Manosphere, whatnot. He represents us in a sense. He does, and whether people like it or not, he does, right? Because the same views he has, the same views I have, same views Fresh and Fit, and all these other people who are in this niche has. Like I said, right? But given the fact that he's on national TV, this is an opportunity we have to actually seize it. Like to say, okay, well, you know what? Hey, the stuff that we're talking about is not misogynistic. It's just that we're living in a world where we have people who would say, if you simply don't agree with a woman, you're a misogynist, right? Misogynist, if we're really looking up the word misogyny, if we were really looking up the definition of the word misogyny means the hatred of women, right? Once again, today, How is it me sitting over here telling a girl to put on some damn clothes, me being a misogynist? How is it me telling a girl, you know what, hey, I understand this situation happened to you, but you could have avoided this by not going there, by not going to no party, by not walking in the alley at damn 2 o'clock in the morning alone, by not, riding in a car with a group of freaking men. Like, bro, we know this stuff. Man. We know how this shit can turn left on the snap of a finger. But leave it up to once again this Western society. They will then sit up here and say, well, you know what? We understand that the girl was walking at 2 o'clock in the alley at night where crime rate is very high. But guess what? The fact that you then sat here and said she was wrong for even walking in there, you're a misogynist. Misogynists You can simply be a misogynist just for simply disagreeing with a female. This is where, and this is what I'm saying, right? Morgan keep talking about you keep misconstruing what I'm saying. Nobody's misconstruing. Nobody's trying to twist your words. It's just like, man, once again, it's just a game that Morgan is playing that Andrew Tate had to play, right? And he played it well, right? And he kept his composure, and that's why I say I think he won. I honestly think he won, man. The fact that you're going on somebody's show, you're gonna be bombarded with some BS, right? And then you get bombarded with some BS of this magnitude and still keep your calm and composure. And yeah, man, look, and once again, Morgan tried to make the red pill, the manosphere community look bad, but Andrew Tate stood his ground, man, and look, hey, right? And this is the biggest thing, right? This was a subject, right? I think this was before or after. I think this subject was beforehand because I haven't got to this part of the video yet. But pretty much the big subject in that conversation, the little interview that they had, was Andrew Tate saying that 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25, 26-year-olds. Why? Because 25, 26-year-olds has been through more breakups, has been through more dealings, has been ran through, and ran through pretty much means, they took more, same thing as, they took a lot of dealing. They, they come with a lot of baggage, which is true, right? They come with a lot of freaking baggage. Versus an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, where she's just now getting started. A female, she's just now getting started. All right? And look, talking about somebody like Andrew Tate, he's 30, I think he could be in his 40s, I believe, right? He's always gonna date them younger girls, right? So you're talking about an 18-year-old, you have a higher chance of having a kid, or the younger she is, the more fertile she is. The older she is, the less fertile she is, right? Especially when she hits your 30s, dude. The chances of you giving that man a kid is going to be kind of hard, right? It's going to be hard. Now, Piers Morgan was trying to make it seem like, hey, you like younger girls. I'm surprised he ain't. I'm surprised Piers Morgan ain't trying to make it seem like, he is a creep on a certain level, right? But he's trying to say, man, you got a 25, 26-year-old women. You're trying to sit up here and say that they're useless. Nobody's trying to say 25, 26-year-old women are useless. But what people is trying to say, what he's trying to say is, when you're talking about dealing with a 25, 26-year-old woman, a lot of these women want to bring baggage over into the next relationship. Oh, well, he did me dirty. Oh, well, he was doing this to me. He was doing that to me. So, you know what? It's going to be hard for me to trust men. And then you have a man who's literally busting his ass to make sure that, hey, you have all the trust in the world, but he can't get over the hump of, well, you know what, hey, this is what this man did to you, so now you want to bring this baggage over into my relationship. You're not going to have that with an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, right? But you 9 times out of 10 might have it with a 26, a 27, 28, 29-year-old woman, right? Look, I'm telling you, there's a chick that was 30-something years of age. She's 31. She's 31 years of age. Has 4 kids. I think 3 or 4 kids. 3 or 4 kids. 3 or 4 kids. And you mean to tell me all of a sudden you want to have a family now? Why do you want to have that? Because all of the shit that you just been through. Now you're at the age of 31. Now you want to be serious? No. No. So you have women like that, right? You have Andrew Tate say, hey, women like that aren't that attractive. But when you have an 18-year-old woman who has 0 kids, who's more fertile, who has way more common sense than a 31 or a 30-year-old chick who's trying to sit up here talking about, well, I want a family now after having them hella damn kids. Bro, come on, man. So they're trying to demonize him for saying, hey, nobody want to deal with that. But we want to deal with an 18-year-old, 19-year-old who is more fertile. Most of your men will want that, right? So, man, hey, like I said, he stood his ground. He stood his ground, man. And in my opinion, he made the red pill community and the manosphere community look good a little bit, right? He made them look better, right? Because now a lot more people are going to try to gravitate towards stuff like this and say, okay, well, let's try to hear other people out, right? And once again, right, y'all need to go look at my my 1-year anniversary video where I talk about let's talk about red pill content, where I break up the different forms of red pill content. So you got somebody like Fresh and Fit, right? You got somebody like Kevin Samuels. I feel like those people we all have the same ideas, but they are geared towards more of high value men. Somebody like myself, somebody like Poor Man Podcast, different perspective, going for men that are average. You're average men, right? Fresh and Fit, they're gonna try to teach you about how to get women, about how to do this, how to do that. Channels like mine, Poor Man Podcast, a different perspective. They're gonna teach you about, how to, what a woman's role is with the average man. You even had Poor Man Podcast even saying, man, dude, you can have a comfortable life making $50K a year. Especially if you're making $50K a year and you're a woman, that's $100K right there, bro. So that's your average man. A man who's making $50K, that's gonna be an average guy. And that's who we mainly talk about, right? So different forms of red pill content, man. So, like I said, man, Andrew Tate did his thing, man. Y'all do me a huge favor, man. Leave me a like, comment, subscribe.